The Detroit Lions' secret weapons nobody is talking about, and they could change everything in 2026. Every single year, right around this time, the NFL world gets distracted by the shiny things. The flashy first-round picks, the big-money free agents, the superstar quarterbacks throwing passes in shorts. And every single year, the teams that actually win championships are building something quieter, something underneath the surface, something that most people completely miss until it is September and suddenly the scoreboard does not lie. Well, folks, right now in Allen Park, Michigan, the Detroit Lions are doing exactly that. While the national media is busy talking about Aiden Hutchinson's comeback and Jahmyr Gibbs' new bell cow role and Mike Kafka's magical passing game wizardry, Dan Campbell and his staff are quietly cooking up a handful of storylines that have barely gotten a fraction of the attention they deserve. And if you are a true Lions fan, if you are someone who watches every press conference, reads every OTA report, and obsesses over every single depth chart update, then you already know that sometimes the most important thing happening on a football team is the thing nobody is writing the headlines about. So today, we are pulling back the curtain. We are going deeper than the highlight reel. We are talking about a 6'5.5", 7-foot wingspan freak of nature who went undrafted and just made an entire NFL coaching staff ask how in the world he slipped through. We are talking about one of the most fascinating offensive line puzzles the Lions have put together in years. And we are talking about one of the greatest fan-favorite stories in recent Detroit Lions history coming full circle in the most beautiful, most perfectly Detroit way imaginable. Buckle up. This one is going to be good. Let us start with a name that has been quietly buzzing around the Lions OTA complex like a rumor that is rapidly turning into a fact. Anthony Lucas. Say that name. Write it down. Save it somewhere. Because if this young man does what the Detroit Lions coaching staff seems to believe he is capable of doing, you are going to be saying it a whole lot this fall when the pads come on and the regular season starts heating up. Lucas came out of USC as an undrafted free agent following the 2026 NFL draft, which on the surface might seem like the end of a story rather than the beginning of one. But here's where it gets fascinating. Lucas was not some random guy who stumbled into a tri-8. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of Chaparral High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. A 5-star recruit. That means college programs across the entire country were fighting over this kid, and he chose Texas A&M to start his collegiate career. The talent was never in question. The production, however, was inconsistent, which is precisely how a player with his physical gifts ends up going undrafted in the first place. But here's the detail that made Detroit's defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard absolutely lose his mind when he went back to study the tape. During Lucas's junior year at USC, the Trojans played LSU in their season opener. Now, you might look at the box score from that game and see Lucas credited with just 2 tackles. 2 tackles. On the surface, completely forgettable. But Shepard, who is an LSU man himself and knows exactly what kind of talent lines up across from opposing players in the SEC, went back to the film and watched something completely different from what the statement. Lucas was lined up against LSU's left tackle, a prospect named Will Campbell, who, and here's where the story really takes off, went on to be selected with the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft to the New England Patriots. The 4th overall pick, one of the most highly rated offensive line prospects in the entire country. And Anthony Lucas, in 46 snaps against that future top 5 selection, generated 3 quarterback pressures and made that future millionaire look very, very uncomfortable, giving Will Campbell the 2nd worst PFF grade of his entire 3-year college career. On the other side of that LSU offensive line was Emory Jones, another tackle who went in the 3rd round of the NFL draft to the Baltimore Ravens. So this undrafted rookie from USC was physically dominating 2 players who went on to be 1st and 3rd round NFL draft picks, and somehow nobody called his name on draft weekend. When Shepard recalled the moment in front of reporters, his shock and excitement were almost impossible to contain. He looked at the film, saw what Lucas did to those 2 tackles, and his immediate reaction was to ask himself how on earth they got this guy undrafted. That is not a throwaway comment from a coordinator who is just trying to hype up a camp body. That is a football expert expressing genuine disbelief that a player of this caliber was available for free. And then Dan Campbell himself made a move that turned even more heads. Detroit's coaches are stunned by undrafted rookie DE Anthony Lucas. Though his USC stat line versus LSU showed only 2 tackles, film revealed him dominating future NFL draft picks Will Campbell, number 4 overall, Patriots, and Emory Jones, 3rd round, Ravens, generating pressures and forcing one of Campbell's worst career grades. Defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard couldn't believe Lucas went undrafted, and head coach Dan Campbell even mentioned Lucas ahead of his own 2nd round pick when listing defensive ends, highlighting Lucas's freakish size, 6'5" 1/2", 85 wingspan, and upside. Given the Lions' track record of turning undrafted players into contributors, Lucas is now one of their most intriguing camp stories. On offense, Juice Scruggs, acquired in the David Montgomery trade, has unexpectedly emerged as a versatile lineman during OTAs and minicamp, repping across multiple positions instead of just backup center, making him a quietly important piece in Detroit's offensive line rebuild. In short, Lucas is the surprise defensive gem, Scruggs the versatile offensive sleeper, both shaping up as key line storylines heading into camp. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoy these kinds of deep dive Lions stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns.